Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Hey! Part two.
We're good to go. What's up, Ash? How you doing? You good?
How you doing?
I'm good. Chilling, just relaxing out here in snowy New Jersey.
Are you snowed in out there?
Nah, it's actually not that bad. A couple days ago it was really bad, but right now it's kind of cleared up a little bit.
Gotcha. So, were you guys able to still shoot Good Morning Football or no?
We did. For everybody that stayed further out, they put us up in the city, so we were downtown right by the CBS building. So we filmed the show, got back on the road, so I got like a day to chill. I'm going to chill tonight, watch the games, and then back at it for the CBS show tomorrow.
What game does CBS have tomorrow?
CBS has the Sunday, what is it? Let's see. It's the Bills-Jaguars game.
Ooh. Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, we got to start with the Saturday games, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we got the Titans and the Chiefs. So I'm just going to give some numbers for the viewers out there. All right, so Titans come into the game. Marcus, he is thrown for over 3,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. This is the thing that troubles me, 15 interceptions. When you have more interceptions than touchdowns, I'm looking at you with the side eye. But Alex Smith, he came on strong the second half of the season, 1,000 yards. I mean, offense is balling on the Chiefs. That's not really my question and concern.
Yeah.
What are you looking at going into this matchup?
Well, this one for me is the toughest game to call. There's a huge part of me that wants to root for the Tennessee Titans, but the inconsistency that I've seen this year has been the toughest part about this offense. Mariota is supposed to take that huge step this season, and you said it was the turnovers that kind of caused everybody to kind of turn their head away from the Titans. And with that exotic smash mouth running game, DeMarco Murray having that knee issue, and he's pretty much the feature back. As much as we love Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray is the guy that makes the thing go. So I would say it's going to be uphill for the Tennessee Titans. I will say this, though. That defense is fantastic. Anchored in that umbrella is Dory Jackson, who is a young talent. He's an absolute beast. Plays everywhere on the field. They even put him on offense and returns. But then Kevin Byard, who has, I think he led the NFL in takeaways with 10. He had 8 interceptions, which is tied for the most with Darius Slay out of Detroit, who just made All-Pro. So I will say this. If Alex Smith isn't careful and he's trying to attack the back end of this defense, there's some ball hawks back there that can create turnovers. Now, on the other side of the ball, Alex Smith has been notorious for getting into the playoffs and being extremely gun-shy. So when we've seen the success of this offense for the Chiefs, we've seen them go out there and basically play as if they're trying to take the top off everything. Now, are they going to do that? Who knows? We've seen them look like a Super Bowl champion this season, and then we've seen them look like one of the worst teams in the league. So I'm very interested to see the type of game plan the Chiefs come up with. I do know this. If I'm the Tennessee Titans, I'm letting it all hang out. I'm bringing blitzes. I'm putting pressure on Alex Smith. I'm collapsing that pocket. Because you don't want to give him time to sit back and find Travis Kelce running 60 yards on the field or Tyreek Hill going 80. You have to make him make quick decisions in tight coverage. And that's what I expect out of that defense up against that Chiefs offense.
This is my thing for the Chiefs. You know who my X factor in the Chiefs is? Because I know what they're going to give me on offense, but I think if Marcus Peters can have a big game for the Chiefs and get some takeaways and get some disruption back there, that could really be the key. Because I think they played. It was the Raiders are one of those teams, and I mean, it was like I think it was right after his suspension too. He was all over the field creating plays, and sometimes you need those momentum shifts in the play. So I'm going to keep my eye on him to see what he's going to do today.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that was the game after Coach Andy Reid set him down, and everybody was thinking first. I said it on TV. I was like, Andy Reid's out of his mind to bench one of his best players, but he sent the message loud and clear. Marcus Peters came back, bounced back, and had 2 turnovers in that game. So you're right. I mean, there's already an advantage to the Chiefs' offense up against Tennessee. But when it comes to the Tennessee offense up against that Chiefs defense, if Marcus Peters can get his hand on the ball, he is an absolute game changer. I mean, that's just turning over the ball quickly, giving it right back to your offense. And what I do know about the Chiefs is when they create turnovers, their next couple plays, there's always a shot in there. It's like, just like you talking about the word momentum, how offense coordinators think is, okay, we just got a turnover. Crowd is on our side. The team is hyped. Let's take a shot downfield. And it's almost like going up against the Golden State Warriors, and they hit a three, you get a turnover, and they hit another three, and then they back that in with a three. Before you know it, the game was tied, and now you're down by 10. So it's the same type of thing with football. Those momentum shifts can change everything.
Who do you think has the better quarterback day? Mariota, Alex Smith?
I'm going with Alex Smith because of the surrounding weapons. When everybody was off of the bandwagon, I thought to myself, I'm not off of it. They have too much talent. Like Tyreek Hill, the fastest dude on ground. Travis Kelce is an absolute mismatch problem with anybody. If you put him up against the safety, he's bigger. Cornerback, he's much larger. And then he's a route-running tight end, so if you face him up against linebackers, he can get open because they don't have the hips. And then there's just the surrounding pieces to those guys that have been playing so well. Oh, and not to mention Kareem Hunt can run in between tackles and catch out of that backfield. So I'm giving the advantage to Alex Smith.
Okay, who are you picking? Chiefs, Titans?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs today. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. If the Titans win, it'll shock me. It'll shock me.
The Chiefs, okay, this is a fun fact. They haven't won a playoff game in Arrowhead in over 24 years, but I believe today is the day.
Today's the day? Yeah, I agree. I feel like and listen, if they don't, oh boy, they're going to hear about it, and they're not going to hear the end of it until they actually win at home.
Well, I just think for the Chiefs, they have every reason to want to win this game. I mean, they know what the storyline is them. You know, they have good regular seasons. They're a first or second round team in the playoffs, and then they're done. So I think that everybody calls him the perennial manager. So I think he's there to break this mold a little bit.
Yeah, and think about this though. We're talking about Alex Smith and him being the nickel and dime or game manager, but you also have to keep this in perspective. There's a quarterback by the name of Patrick Mahomes is sitting right behind him. So the future for Alex Smith, it could really hinge on how he plays in the postseason. Now, if he goes out there and lights it up, say he does something just miraculous and takes his team to the Super Bowl, you know how many suitors there are going to be for Alex Smith trying to pay him to bring him into their organization? If he goes out there and he lays an egg and he looks bad, Patrick Mahomes will be a starter next year. And then on top of that, Alex Smith, his free agency vacancy, it's going to stick around for a long time because teams aren't going to want an Alex Smith that can't play well in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a make or break game for Alex Smith's career. Yeah. Let's go up to the road. LA. Yeah. Comes the Coliseum, taking on the Falcons. What do you think? You have two high-powered offenses. Yeah. You got some strong defenses. What are your thoughts going into the game?
This is the tough one because my logic says that the offense for the Atlanta Falcons are much better. They have Julio Jones, who's an absolute dog. Mohamed Sanu could be the best number 2 in football. Taylor Gabriel, who is like a cheetah on land. And then the running backs, Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, are great. And then they're anchored by the quarterback, who was our reigning MVP. But with all that said, the offense coordinator, Steve Sarkisian, has found it hard to get everybody involved. Like, there's a 2-week span during the season last year that really just blows me away. Where one game, Julio Jones goes for 250. And we're like, okay, finally, about time. Feed your beast. And then the next week is followed by them throwing the ball 6 times and he only has 24 yards. That's not Julio.
Touchdowns on the year. He only has 3 touchdowns on the year.
That's what I'm saying. He's too talented for him to have those type of numbers. Now, he's always going to put up 1,000 yards. He's always going to be one of the best receivers in the game. But as an offensive coordinator, your goal is to not lean on the talent of your guys, but use that talent to get them open and put them in position. And they haven't done that this year. Now, on the flip side, the team that they're facing, Sean McVay has done that exact same thing. He has taken not the talent of the guy and said, okay, you make us great. He's taken the talented guy and then put that talented guy in a position to be successful. Golf has made such a leap from last year. They were calling him a bust last year. And then the wide receivers they brought in, Watkins, Woods, and all the surrounding guys and tight ends, they're all playing at a higher level than we expected them to. And then Todd Gurley. Like, knowing where your bread is buttered, Sean McVay doesn't make it complicated. He's like, all right, we're going to get the ball in Todd Gurley's hands. Like, I don't care if teams know we're attempting to do that. I'm going to game plan in such a way that we can move them around, put them in formation, put them up against linebackers, put them in space, and get them the rock. We saw, like, was a couple weeks before the season ended, Todd Gurley had like $150 in the air and $120 on the ground, 2 touchdowns receiving. Like, those are crazy numbers. So, all salute to Todd Gurley. He's a beast. My favorite running back in football right now. But you got to give credit to Sean McVay because he's orchestrating what needs to be done in that offense. And that's 2 completely different offenses.
Do you think Sean McVay is the coach of the year?
It's possible. I would say you got to consider, Doug Peterson with the Eagles, with what they were doing. I even like Jacksonville because we're talking about Jacksonville at this point in the year. We'll never give it to Bill Belichick, but you got to talk about him and what he's doing.
I show love to Mike Zimmer. He's got those boys out there rolling.
Yeah, and I was getting to Mike Zimmer. What's crazy about Mike Zimmer is he had 7 surgeries on his eye, 7 eye surgeries, and then his starting quarterback goes down, his number 2 quarterback goes down, his starting running back goes down and Cook. And yet, Case Keenum has these guys with one of the best records in the league, and the offense is clicking. So, and the defense is phenomenal. So, you got to give him credit as well. And then Mike Tomlin. A lot of coaches, a lot of people might not credit him for being one of the best coaches in the league. But think about this. Last year, he has that. Huh?
I said we don't credit consistency in the NFL.
We don't, and we don't credit like what happens behind the scenes. Like being that I played, I know the drama that comes with like managing superstars. So let's go back to last year. You remember Antonio Brown? He's in the locker room, Facebook, and writing everybody's going crazy. Yeah. So he had to deal with that, and then Big Ben over the summer was like, I'm thinking about retiring. This might be it. Yeah. So now he has to convince his Hall of Fame quarterback to like get your mind right, bro. And then he starts the season out without Le'Veon Bell, who starts the whole season slow. Martavis is talking about, I need the rock. I got to feed my family. And Shazier goes down, man. Shazier, our prayers are with you. Like, all these things are happening, yet and still, they're one of the better teams in the league. And not to mention, Antonio Brown goes down. So, like, Mike Tomlin should get credit. He won't. But the coaches that usually have the best records, and they are consistent, like you said, we kind of just brush them under the rug, like, oh, that's what they're supposed to.
Who do you think has a better day, Julio or Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley, yeah. Because listen, if you're the Rams defense, one, you're gonna use Aaron Donald and how talented he is to get after Matt Ryan, and then the defenders, they're not going to allow Julio to run around single coverage. He will have somebody press coverage. He'll have a safety over the top. Most of the time, he's either going to be bracketed or have somebody spying on him. So he's not going to be running around like crazy. But that's what I talked about when it comes to Sark. That's his job to know that. You got to know that they're playing chess. So what's your next move before the game even starts? And when it comes to Todd Gurley, there's just too many ways to get him in space. Who was a wide receiver? So most of the time, he's going to be on the line of scrimmage. Todd Gurley's in the backfield. So before he even touches the ball, there's a little bit of space. And he's so dynamic. And not to mention, when he's in the backfield and there's a great route scheme in front of him, he can late release and run a screen. He can run flat routes, slant routes. And once he gets the ball in his hands and he's in space, he's so big, so fast, so explosive that I feel like he's just going to rack up those yards. He'll pick up where he left off in the regular season. He has my vote for the MVP.
Really? See, this is the only reason I cannot give it to Todd Gurley. I can't give you the MVP if you didn't even lead your category. I mean, Kareem Hunt has the rushing title.
Yeah, but listen, he had 19 touchdowns, bro. Like, you can't argue with that. For the simple fact that in one
week... He's on a high-powered offense.
Yeah, he's on a high-powered offense for sure. Well, Kareem Hunt was on a high-powered offense, and here's the thing about Kareem Hunt. He disappeared for a little bit, too. Remember there was that streak where he just scored a touchdown for 7 games. The whole offense disappeared. I agree, but I will say this. Todd Gurley, every game, they're going in to game plan for Todd Gurley. Defenses are not coming in saying, we really got to worry about golf. We really got to worry about Watkins and Woods. They're going in saying, stop Todd Gurley, we stop the Rams. Now, when they're facing the Chiefs, yeah, of course, teams respect Kareem Hunt. They want to stop Kareem Hunt. But they're also looking to stop Tyreek Hill. They're also looking to stop Travis Kelce. So there's different weapons surrounding Kareem Hunt versus the weapons surrounding Todd Gurley. And he's just so good at what he does. So, you score 19 touchdowns in the NFL, I'm going to give you that nod every time.
You kind of have to. As somebody who played, how much do you think experience is going to tie into this game? So you have the Rams, They haven't really been in this position before. Atlanta, they're coming off of a Super Bowl run. Didn't go the way they wanted.
Yeah.
How much of those early game jitters are the Rams going to have to overcome?
I would say it would usually play a significant role, and I'd even look to a team like the Rams, who they have a little different maturity about them. Like Sean McVay might be young, and we keep talking about how he's a baby and he's the youngest coach in the league, but he has these guys thinking differently and playing differently. Todd Gurley was asked earlier in the year, "Why don't you guys celebrate?" He said, "Well, we get there so often, we don't have to." Like that's not a young dude that's a diva. That's a guy that's wise beyond his years. So I bring that up to say that this young team, they think differently and they act differently. So usually I would say, oh yeah, experience is going to be the deciding factor in the game, but not really. Especially given the fact that this isn't the same team that went to the Super Bowl. Yes, they have all the same weapons, but I'll bring it up again. Steve Sarkisian is not Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, even though he dropped the ball in the Super Bowl and they didn't allow the Patriots to not come back on him. But Steve Sarkisian struggled. He struggled all year to get these guys going. So, and I think today's going to be another example of that.
All right, who are you going with?
Oh man, it's tough. I'm going with the Rams. I'm going with the Rams.
I'm going with the Rams too.
I'm going with the Rams, and I don't want to though because as much as I'm on the fence. As much as I'm on the fence about Sarkisian, I feel like at some point they got to get a fix. Like at some point you got to find a rhythm. Like at some point Julio has to just go out there and moss dudes and put on his Megatron costume and go for 300 yards. And then they got when you look at what they have as far as like skill set players, they might have the most talent in the postseason. Like they got a legit 3 wide receiver. Their running back duo is as good as Mark Ingram and Kamara. So, I would hope that they can get it together, but I don't know. My heart says that they won't, so I'm going with the Rams.
I think the deciding factor with me was, I think the offenses are both evenly matched. Like, I know both can put up points, but I personally trust the Rams defense a little bit more than I trust Atlanta. I feel like they've bent a couple times in the year, so that's why I kind of had to go with the Rams.
I agree. And on top of that, Aaron Donald, he could be the defensive player of the year. He is an absolute Streptocon. He's a beast.
He's balling. Okay, let's go to Sunday, your game tomorrow, Jacksonville and the Bills. This is I think Jacksonville's first time in the playoffs in 10 years. Buffalo ended their 21-year streak. That's right. 5 on this earth.
It was since the year I graduated high school in 99, so I'm thankful. But yeah, listen, they're both the Cinderella story. Everybody wants to cheer for Buffalo because they haven't been there so long, and the way they got him was so dramatic with Tennessee getting that dub. But I don't see it happening, especially when LaShawn McCoy is unlikely to be himself. I mean, even if he does play, is LaShawn McCoy going to cut on a dime? He's not going to do that. His game is being agile, fast, quick, and explosive. If he can't do that, you're putting all the pressure on Tyrod and his legs. So if I'm saying this out loud, imagine what the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is game planning for. They're game planning to make Tyrod Taylor so uncomfortable in that pocket, keep him at bay. And if they do want to drop back and say, all right, the Buffalo Bills saying, okay, we don't have our starting running back, we have serviceable running backs, we don't have LaShawn McCoy, let's sit back and throw the ball. You want to throw the ball up against that defense? A.J. Boye, Jalen Ramsey, Sean Gibson, Telvin Smith at linebacker. I think the list goes on. Their whole team is damn near Pro Bowls in my vote. So it's going to be tough for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, unless Blake Bortles goes out there and plays the worst game he's ever played, I got the Jacksonville.
You never know with him. You never know.
It's possible, and that's the thing. That's why a lot of people aren't taking the Jags because of the simple fact that they don't have faith in Blake Bortles. I feel like that Blake Bortles has played decent. He had a couple games where it tailed off at the end of the season, but there were some games this year when Leonard Fournette wasn't playing. He had to throw the ball. He threw the ball very well. So Blake Bortles, take care of the ball. Don't force anything down the field. You got a nickel and dime for 4 quarters, nickel and dime for 4 quarters. Your defense is that good to where if you don't turn the ball over in the postseason, you guys have a chance of going to the Super Bowl. The crazy thing is when Blake Bortles doesn't throw an interception, I believe they're 8-0. That's crazy. So he has to know that, which means go out there and take care of the ball.
Well, and also I want to say this too, because I feel like, I follow this team really closely. A lot of people don't know, they've lost like 99.9% of their receivers. So I do think a lot of it is his accuracy and his vision, but also it's just not having the reps with certain guys and not. Right. I think it's a timing issue as well where, okay, you're pulling a guy from the practice squad and now you're expected to like make these on-target throws.
Right.
You don't have the reps.
Right. And then, listen, I got to give credit. I'm looking at the comments that say Bills D not getting enough love. Yeah, you're right. The Buffalo Bills defense, they're really good. And what I do know about, they're legit. They're not as good as the Jags defense, but they are legit, though. But I have the Jacksonville Jaguars this week.
I'm going with the Jags, too. Yeah. It's mostly like a heart pick, but yeah, I think Buffalo going on the road, they've never been there. I know Jacksonville hasn't been there, but I think the thing that kind of concerns me with the Jaguars is their bread and butter has been the defense. And then these last two games against the 49ers and Tennessee, they've given up plays that they don't normally give up. So I think that with it being a home game, the energy will be live. I think those boys are going to go to work out there. So I'm riding with the Jags.
Yeah, and you got to think about this too. The last game they lost was against Tennessee, and Marcus Mariota rushed for 60 yards. And so if you're saying that the key to beating the Jags is a quarterback using his legs, Tyrod Taylor's fit for that. The question is, can he do that consistently for 4 quarters, and can he keep himself from getting banged up? Because if you leave that pocket and you start to scramble, them Jacksonville Jaguars are going to fly around trying to knock your head off.
They will, and also they have, I think they're really good at creating, like, they can punch a ball out. So,
creating turnovers, they're the best in the game at creating turnovers.
No, absolutely. Okay, final game of the day, the trilogy, Saints versus Panthers. It's very hard to game 3 times in the season. What do you think about the Panthers?
Listen, I'll take you back to 2004. I actually talked about this on my show. We had a good year. I remember playing against the Green Bay Packers twice that year because I was playing for the Vikings, so divisional opponent. They beat us twice. Same exact score, 34-31 by a field goal each time. In both of those games, I went off. I'm thinking to myself, I'm finding myself as a second-year player. It was a season I put up 1,000 yards. So I ended the season on a high note, and we actually slid ourselves into the playoff position, and we heard that we got a wild card spot. And they let us know who we have, and we have the Green Bay Packers. So we're facing the Green Bay Packers for a 3rd time after losing to them twice in the season. We go up to Lambeau, and quite frankly, we kicked their ass. Like, they didn't know what hit them. And that's what I was trying to say on TV, that most people might think, oh, well, Saints are going to win. They won 2 previous games. They're just fine, and they're at home. It's really hard to beat a team 3 times in a row because, one, oftentimes you might lean on the simple fact that you beat them as a certain, strain of confidence. But really, the confidence is shifted because as a team, we walked in the Lambeau. I remember walking on that field, snow's coming down, falling on my shoulder blades, and I'm thinking to myself, this is it. This is the real deal nostalgia of old school football. And once the game started, they were more passive than we were. I don't know if they just were confident because they had beat us, but we knew that this was our last stand. So we swung first. Boom, it was like a heavyweight bout. And then we realized, damn, they hit us back yet. We swung again. Boom, and before you know it, they were stumbling to the ropes. And by halftime, we knew we had the game won. They had Brett Favre, of course, so